So in this week's episode of One Piece, we got quite a shocking turn as Luffy has been defeated by Kaido, resulting in him plummeting down onto the island below. However, Kaido makes a very interesting speech about Luffy's defeat, and it's possible that you might have missed the parallel this is alluding to given the ways it can be translated, so let's take a look at how exactly it was described in the original Japanese version, alongside all the other linguistic references included in this chapter. Following off from last chapter, Nami attempts to go against Ulti, preparing to shoot her iconic attack, Tornado Tempo, the same attack she used to finish off Miss Double Finger back in Alabasta, though in this case Ulti dodges it rather easily. Her subordinates mock Nami, calling her a cheerleader for waving around a baton as her weapon, though they are quickly blown right away after. While Nami's attack misses, Big Mom follows up by combining Napoleon, Prometheus, and now Hera into a combined attack she calls Gattai Mazaho, donating straight through Ulti, just like Ace. Gattai simply translates to combination or fusion, while Mazaho, or Maser Cannon, is a reference to the Godzilla series, where the iconic Maser Cannon is one of the main weapons used against the colossal monster. In this case, the pose Napoleon, Prometheus, and Hera assume here is the exact same shape as the Maser Cannon. However, this is likely an elaborate pun because in Japanese, Maser is pronounced very similarly to mother or maza. So it's possible that since these two pronunciations are very similar, this could just simply be a reference to Big Mom herself. Prometheus reveals that the request he had made to Big Mom a couple chapters back was, "I want a girlfriend," so he asked Big Mom to make a female homie. However, Hera acts all high and mighty and tells both he and Napoleon to not get ahead of themselves, calling them silly little boys, or obaka-santachi in Japanese, in a refined but condescending tone. This is because, as I've explained before, Hera's personality is based off of the Ojo-sama archetype, the arrogant, high-born lady. Her laugh also reflects this by being the iconic Ojo-sama laugh. When later eating Zeus, Hera calls him Zeus-senpai, since he is technically her senior due to having been created before her. And as she bites into him, she says "itadakimasu," a common expression used in Japanese before starting a meal, which basically translates to "allow me to indulge," as thanks for being served food. This, in turn, could be referencing the original Greek myth of Zeus and Hera, since, like I mentioned in a previous video, Zeus and Hera were often at odds due to Hera's jealousy for Zeus's love for other women. In this case, Zeus tries to go to another woman instead of Big Mom, that being Nami, so in turn Hera attempts to kill him. Oda once again manages to show his expertise at pulling heartstrings by making us feel sorry about a cloud, with Zeus regretting not signing with Nami due to his fear of Big Mom, despite the fact that Nami has treated him better, wishing to go out in one final attack to make it up to Nami. This is enough for Nami to go and attempt to save Zeus, but since he is being weakened, he ends up being eaten by Hera. However, since in this panel we see Zeus being devoured inside Hera with Nami's claim attacked inside of her too, is it possible that Zeus managed to escape into the claim attacked? Maybe part of his soul and energy got absorbed by Hera, but as part of it managed to survive inside the claim attacked. Nami likely hasn't realized, but it's possible he might have survived this way and will come to protect her once again when Nami faces Ulti again. Big Mom attempts to kill Nami, Usopp, and Utama with cognac, but someone parries the blade, to then grab her face and slam it into the ground, with a move called Punk Gibson. This is, of course, Kid. The move he uses, Punk Gibson, whose kanji translate as magnetic strings, is a move he first used against Apu at the start of Onigashima, in reference to the Gibson brand of guitars, which he smashes to the ground like a punk artist would. However, the reference goes even deeper because this is actually the true meaning of the title of the chapter. Anarchy in the BM, which is written in English even in the Japanese version, is a reference to the punk song Anarchy in the UK by the band Sex Pistols, which Kid already referenced in another attack in the past called Punk Pistols. This works as a double reference to the anarchy of Hera taking over Zeus, but also as a reference to Kid's moves being named after punk artists. Switching back to the rooftop though, we see an unconscious Luffy falling off towards the island below. What will happen to him now? Well, assuming someone doesn't save him, which I find unlikely at the moment, Luffy might fall onto the Wano mainland. When Big Mom fell before, she was falling straight into the sea, but at the moment it's possible the island has moved far enough to have reached the land. Not far enough to be right on top of the flower capital, but enough to be somewhere above Udon. It's possible that from there, Luffy might get back up, head to the capital, and find a way to make it all the way back onto Onigashima, also helping involve the capital in cheering Luffy to stop and defeat Kaido. Maybe that's finally the use that Mount Fuji will have, the massive mountain behind the flower capital, which I feel needs to serve some purpose at this point, as I doubt it really exists there just for the sake of being a background element. It could let Luffy climb it and allow him to launch himself back onto Onigashima, serving its true purpose. Also, while this scene will certainly evoke memories of Luffy's past defeats, such as his second defeat against Crocodile when he was dropped off from a roof, it more than anything makes me think back to his defeat against Enel, where he was dropped off the Maxim into the ground below. This resulted in Luffy having to climb back up in order to clash against Enel again, being a focal point of the arc to find a way back up again. Just like that arc, it will make things more tense, leading to an even more epic final climax. Last chapter really made me think we could be getting a Luffy and Yamato team up against Kaido, but it seems that at this point it's more likely for Yamato to stall Kaido instead until Luffy gets back up. In the meantime, Luffy might make his way through the Flower Capital, again having all the people from the Flower Capital believing that Luffy could save them, climbing Mount Fuji and heading to Onigashima to fight Kaido once again. Something I find very interesting though is that in his musing, Kaido blames Luffy for letting his new power-up get to his head. This by itself is obviously a mockery of shonen tropes with how characters often win when they get a new power-up, which, to be fair, admittedly, One Piece is also guilty of to a certain extent. But Kaido also adds that the real weakness of humans is not only that they always believe in hope, but that they can never give up hope, and regrets not taking Luffy's head as evidence since he feels his crewmates and allies will never stop believing in him. And it's specifically this term that is very important because this is a very powerful and meaningful line. It already illustrates to us that despite how dire this situation is, despite that Luffy has been defeated and has been thrown off of Onigashima, his allies, much like us, his readers, have not lost hope in him. They will always keep believing in him, as we also will. And this line specifically is something that we have seen so persistently shown across the entire series. We saw this last chapter with both Zoro and Sanjay fully believing in Luffy's victory, but we've also seen this so many times before. For example, back at Alabasta when Crocodile defeated Luffy, Usopp refused to believe in his death, despite the fact that Miss Merry Christmas stated that Luffy was dead. And again, we've seen this countless times, again and again. It's often translated different into English, but in Japanese, this term of believing in Luffy has been used all across the series. It's this faith in believing in Luffy that his allies and his crewmates have placed in him again and again, this faith that he will become the Pirate King that has allowed him to come this far. By having allies that will undoubtedly believe in him, Luffy knows in turn that he can believe in them and that he can rely on them to help him achieve that path to the top. Luffy might have fallen from the top here, the pinnacle of the pirate world as Ace called it, but no matter how many times he falls, he will always get back up again and aim for the top once more. And once again, we too, the readers, need to have faith in Luffy. Go Luffy! Reach for the pinnacle once again. But one last thing I wanted to mention though, is that the editor's note at the end of the chapter, which you might have missed since not all translations feature it, reads as, Luffy falls. What will be the fate of the Wano country? This choice of words, the fate of the Wano country, I doubt is a mere coincidence since the word fate has been thrown a lot around during this arc. Whether it's by Yamato calling Luffy's arrival an act of fate, given the D initial in his name, Law wondering about the fate of the D, and CP0 also considering this all fate. And I definitely think that all of this is tied together. So in that regard, now that Luffy has been defeated, it seems that his fate might be set on a different course, and that the fate of the Wano country might be put into jeopardy, leading to a path of destruction. And it's up to Luffy to change the course of fate once again, and set it back on the right track. And I think it's this concept of fate that closely ties with this idea that everyone believes in Luffy. But how exactly? Well, unfortunately, I can't talk about this now since this ties a lot into my bigger One Piece theory I'm working on, and Okay, look, I'm sorry. I know I've been teasing this thing for a very, very long while, and I've withheld from sharing some details about it because I don't want to ruin the surprises that will come with it. But you know what? I've kept teasing you for way too long. So, next week, now that it is break and we won't have a new chapter, I'm finally going to share some more details and some more information on how I'm going to handle this colossal project. So, I hope to see you there once I finally get to share more details on what exactly it is I've been working on for the past few years of my life. See you next week, and thanks for watching.